Yeah, alright, everybody, welcome to the Indie Showcase with the Birdman. Today on the docket, well, we got quite a dark one to be honest with you, but it's perfect for the old spooky season. This is going to be a little banger by the name of Abscission. And it's going to be a throwback to retro-styled point-and-click adventure games, down to the very much pixel art style of it. Now, I've covered plenty of point-and-click games here in the past on the channel, particular Deponia series, Ed and Harvey, etc., etc. So I'm a sucker for those in general. This one in particular, though, scratched that itch along with more of the darker macabre. And so you see here, we have a couple of pictures of what to expect. Ashfield, Massachusetts, a place like any other. I'd lived there my whole life, in that town crouched by the river. It was a direct reflection of the humanity that clustered within it, its flaws and its virtues, while also presenting as a microcosm of the human body. It had the capacity for healthy growth. But when it was infected, it could burst. No one's using this elevator tonight. I gotta take the stairs.
Why?
I'm sorry, ma'am. As I said before, I can't tell you that.
But it's our building.
That's the way it is. Can we go?
Do you want to take the stairs?
Hell no.
Well, this cop says we can't use the elevator.
That's bullshit.
And what about Mrs. Takahara? You want her to walk up 3 flights on that hip?
I'm sorry, but the elevator can't be used. I don't know how many times I could say it.
Then we'll go to a damn bar instead.
Sorry, ma'am. You need to stay for the moment. We need to ask you some more questions.
I don't believe this.
Officer Bruce? Hey, would you look at that? Will Stanhope. The hell are you doing here? This ain't a vice case. Hey, Hogan. It's a vice case? I don't control whenever they stop talking, so I gotta be on it. I'm busy, Bruce. Well, it ain't like that, so I can't really deviate because I gotta read before the things go away. Stanhope can sometimes be presented with different ways to navigating conversation based on 4 temperaments. Yeah, so I read about this in the Steam page. Apparently there's like 4 methods to go about befriending or any other way when it comes to people you want to question. Melancholic, organized, detailed, thoughtful. This approach focuses on the details, allowing Stanhope to get to the heart of the matter. And depending on the choices you make, the characters will remember that, and it's going to affect how they react to you in the future as well, so... I clicked by mistake. I don't know what the second one was. I'm sure to repeat it again, right? The third one, I mean, the second one seems to be like, like, understanding, right? The third one, efficient, confident, demanding. It's a human truth that people lie, and sometimes these lies can be overturned by a strong will. So, the third one seems to be confrontational, the second one seems to be like, understanding. First one seems to be more like, by the book. What's the fourth one? Sanguine. Sociable, optimistic, humorous. Okay, so that was the other one. Phlegmatic, calm, diplomatic, and rational. Makes sense, but just based on the picture we saw, but alright. So now I'm gonna choose one to respond to Bruce with, huh? I mean, he's being a little bit smarmy, but, it's fine, he's a fellow cop. Let's, be sociable, optimistic, and humorous. I know as much as you. Luna called me in. Really? Yeah, 10 minutes ago. Where's her partner? Lois is out of town. So you let me past? Top floor, the only way up's the elevator, unless you fancy the fire escape.
Oh, so he can take the Karen, please?
Lady, I swear to God. The hell's this? Alright. Sure why the menu showed up, but it did. So, just go upstairs and see what's up. Okay, so let's see here. Is there a... No, there is no lazy man. Let me hit tab and show me the highlightable objects I could interact with. So you gotta do everything yourself, huh? God damn it. Footprints. There were footprints leading from the pool of blood towards the elevator. They were relatively large, most likely a man's. Perhaps they were the landlord's. There was a considerable amount of blood staining the cloth that covered the floor. Judging from the color and viscosity, it was still relatively fresh. There was a leather jacket lying on the couch. I assumed it was fashionable, but I really had no idea. There appeared to be something in one of the pockets. Okay, so that we could interact with. I found a small black book filled with addresses and phone numbers. I decided it could be useful. Anything else? Oh, broken vent. Blood dripped from the broken vent. The metal was buckled and torn. What could have done this? Alright. See what the I never seen anything like it.
Are you sure?
What do you mean? Luna, what is this?
Look at her, Stanhope. Look at her.
I'm seeing her. I mean, you telling me I've seen this before or whatever? I think I remember a woman crucified to the wall, and is she being like, what is that? Are those ropes or like her in... The woman, or what was left of her, was tied to the wall. Okay, tied. Her jaw was distended, most probably broken. Her skin was a patchwork of blood bruises. Ribs pushed through ragged flesh. She appeared to have been hollowed out, with every little besides bone and gristle left inside the sagging remains of her torso. Hollowed out.
Just look at her, Will. Doesn't this remind you of anything? Lascato prosthetics? The disappearance of Cassandra Burgess?
There was a twitch in her eye between the lid and the orbital floor. It was a tiny window to the nerves beneath. I see.
I need to get my head around this scene.
I understand.
Can you look for some leads while I'm up here? Anything to get us started?
Will do. About this case, what do we know so far?
The victim's name is Serena Challoner. Hogan is getting some more details from the landlord. He was babbling when I got here.
I can see why. Any suspects?
Not yet. Hopefully we can find something around here that gives us a lead.
You think this is linked to the Lascato case?
Look at her, Will. Can you really tell me it isn't the same way the others died?
More people have died this way? Well, I can certainly see the similarities, but that means nothing without proper investigation.
Similarities. Her body has been emptied. You can't tell me that's a typical modus operandi.
Of course not, but look at these ropes. I don't even know what they're made of. Yeah, that's what was tripping me out first. I thought it was like her intestines or something.
There were fibers found at Lascato too, but burned up in the fire. They could have been there.
It's a stretch. Look, I'm not saying that I'm taking Lascato off the table as a possibility.
What are you saying, Will?
Lascato case was horrific, and I don't blame you for responding to the emotionally charged media furor. There was a momentary flare of anger in her eyes before she sighed and took another drag of her cigarette.
Well, you're a good man, but you need to learn more about people.
Well, it doesn't look like there's much for us to do right there. Broken, bloody piece of glass. I didn't see that the first time. I slipped on the glove and carefully bagged the glass for future analysis. I needed to let Luna know. Oh, maybe that wasn't there when I first was here? It stood out right there, and now we collected that, so maybe that's what we had to probably find. We already got the book from the leather jacket. Let's see. Can we go back downstairs? Ice cream stain. It's probably from that fat dude who was here earlier. Nervous man looking. Could this be the landlord? Sir? Sorry. May I ask you a few questions? I spoke to the other guy, the cop over there. He said I'm not in trouble. Am I in trouble? No, sir. We just need to get a clear picture of what's happened here. What's your name, sir? It's Carl. Carl Laylaw. Yeah, he's the owner. I told the other guy this. Relax. It's just to be polite. I'd like to know who I'm talking to. You're the landlord. Uh-huh. And janitor, handyman. You name it. Let's discuss what happened tonight. Can you start by telling me your involvement? I wasn't involved. I just found it. So you called it in? Yeah. What time was this? About 9:30, I think. I don't know. The other cops said that was the time. I didn't look. So, start from the beginning, if you could. You went up to her apartment? Yeah. You had a key? I got the keys to all the apartments. It's my building. Miss Challoner didn't have a door as such, but what with her having the whole top floor? See, this used to be an old clothes factory, so you need to unlock the button to the top floor. Giving me an option here to respond to this, so... Alright, we could be calm, diplomatic right now. I see. How was she the last time you saw her? Happy, I mean, she's always happy nowadays, always smiling. Interesting, so when you arrived... I saw the blood. I mean, you've been up there. It's everywhere. I just stood there for a while, too scared to move. Then I called out to see if Miss Chancellor was okay. There was no answer, so I searched the place. I was careful not to touch the blood, of course. When I got to the bedroom, I saw... Yeah? Well, I don't fucking know what I saw. You've been up there. Well, what the fuck are those rope things? Who could have ripped her apart like that? Anyway, I ran out of there as fast as I could and called the cops. That's it, that's the whole story. We found a set of boot prints in her apartment. Do you have any idea who they may belong to? I don't know. She had a few visitors, but I don't really remember them. She did have a boyfriend a couple months back, some young punk with a green hair and metal in his face. I think he wore some big leather boots. Remember his name? She called him Marky. So Mark something. I don't know what his last name is. How long have you known her? Since January. I think she moved here from down south somewhere. Said she wanted a fresh start. She ain't local. And she rented the top floor. She said she wanted somewhere with enough space to get her painting done. How would you describe her personality? I don't know, buddy. She was quiet, you know. Always paid on time or was polite enough. Towards the end, she sorta changed. In what way? Was she depressed? If anything, it was the opposite. She just smiled all the time. Maybe she was on drugs. She hung around with some shady characters. Like who? People came by, guys. I didn't ask the names. Was she involved in anything dangerous? Maybe. She wore black clothes all the time, listened to loud rock music. Oh! Alright, hold the presses. She must be a Satanist. Wearing black clothes doesn't make you dangerous. I know that, but you know, these kids these days get drunk all the time, get into the drugs, and the paintings were weird sometimes, really oily. I don't know how to describe it. Could I, the boomer nowadays, okay boomer this guy? Because I am. So, I'm curious about this clue here. Mark, known to have spent time with Serena Challoner, in the last few months. It wasn't much to go by. Can we combine these two? There was only one Mark in the pocketbook, Mark Torrance. I need to look him up on the APD database. Clue gained, name Mark Torrance. It was a solid lead. I needed to let Luna know. Okay, here we go. So now we have two new options. I found a name and a piece of glass that looks like it might have been used in a murder. I'll give it to Dr. Abdulov.
Thanks, Will. I hope it gives us something.
And I also got the name. Mark Torrance.
Great work. Can you follow that up for me tomorrow? I'm gonna need to stay with forensics tonight to scour the apartment.
Of course. Make sure you get some sleep when you can.
I'll do my best.
Right. I guess that's it. The night was unexpectedly calm, the air as thick as soup, clinging to my bones as I fell asleep in my easy chair. The town seemed to be holding its breath. If I dreamed, I can remember it. But that was nothing new. The dawn sunlight was bleached bone. It was around the time I was drinking my second cup of coffee that I realized I had missed Abigail's birthday again. She probably hadn't noticed. I'd never been so much of a father, but she never really needed me, even when her mother passed away. Maybe I'll ring her later. First, it was time to visit the morgue. Dr. Abdulov had been burning the midnight oil. Thank you for completing the autopsy so promptly, Dr. Abdulov. Appreciate you working through the night. No skin off my nose, I couldn't sleep. My daughter had a puppy for her birthday and the poor thing seems to be scared of the dark. Cries all through the night. It's like having another child. And please, call me Temir. I know we're at work, but there's no one here. Why are we so formal? If a person earns a doctorate, she'd be respected in my view. Ha! Please tell me my wife. Please tell my wife that next time you're over for dinner. We'll see how that goes. Now, shall we get started? Certainly. Do you have a time of death? That's a difficult question to answer. How so? Looking at the relative lack of cloudiness within the corneas, I would probably place the time of death at between 8 and 9 p.m. yesterday. That fits with the statement from Chalonor's landlord. But the liver mortis, the lividity of the blood as it pulls under the skin, places a death at 2 or 3 days ago. And then there's the soft tissue, both attached to the corpse and separate. There are aspects of necrosis that could place the time of death at a week ago. How is that possible? Honestly, I'm not sure. What was the cause of death? Well, from the scattering of the organs, you would assume a swift death due to blood loss and trauma. At least that was my first assessment, but the timings don't match. What do you mean? The lungs are relatively fresh. I mean, I wouldn't want to put them on my pizza. Yeah, well, I mean to say that judging from the lack of necrosis, they largely match the time of death measured through the corneal cloudiness. The liver, however, is in a very poor state. The tissue is degrading and necrotizing at an alarming rate. Similarly, some of the skin around her stomach also carries the same, well, sponginess, for lack of a better word. Perhaps it could be caused by some kind of acid. Maybe. If she was submerged in a bath or a corrosive agent, acid or alkali, it could, but no. The skin of her legs, while showing lividity, is relatively well preserved. It's as if parts of her body were long dead while she was still alive. Honestly, it's a little disconcerting. A little? Perhaps it would affect me more if I'd had some sleep. Everything's a little vague. Alright, have you analyzed the glass shard? Was it the murder weapon? Can't say for sure. Looking at the chest cavity and stomach, the skin doesn't seem to be cut. It's more like a series of tears. To be honest, the skin is in such bad condition that it could have probably been pulled apart by someone's hands. Unbelievable. And yet true. With regards to the glass, the majority of the blood matches the blood type of the victim. However, there was another type. I sent a sample to the database to check against the existing DNA profiles. Maybe you'll get a match. Thank you. What about the rope that was found at the scene? Rope? Ah, yeah, of course. I've had a small section over here. Where's the rest of it? Ah, nice. You'll see why. I wish I knew. I've sent a piece for DNA analysis, but it'll take a day or two. What the fuck is that? It's organic matter. Freshy what? Freshy yet run through. That's not what's causing me to go what. It's like, if it's a rope, why is it organic? I told you guys it looked like her fucking intestines. Please inspect it, tell me what you think. I'm no doctor. I hardly think that matters with this substance. Yeah, I know I didn't read what they were saying, but I needed to take this shit. I needed to process this. There's a tear here. This appears to be torn. I tried to cut it with a scalpel, but there's strong strands running beneath the surface. It was like working around knots in woods. This was the best I could do. It appears soft on the surface. Sometimes. What do you mean? It shivers on occasion. A ripple that tenses the surface. A spasm of sorts. What is this, like carnage or what? It's a symbiote? These strands, are they growing? Apparently so. I'll be freezing this section soon, believe me. Yeah, I know I see the bulge, but I'm waiting for that for last. Okay, here it is. It's moving. Yep, it's fascinating, isn't it? And watch this, if I use a pin to agitate it. Lord. I don't know what to make of this, any of it. Why are you even taking the case? Your vice? Yeah, Luna asked me. And I have the time. Do you? I'll make the time. If you say so. I'm gonna go to the office. Can you fax a complete report to me? Of course. It'll be done within the hour. Before you go, there's just one more thing. It might be nothing, but it struck me as a little curious. The victim's got a tattoo. Is that so odd? Well, maybe not, but it was quite recent and the flesh was inflamed, as if it were infected. It was a diamond, bright red, on the inside of her left wrist. Noted. Thank you, Tamir. Detective Stanhope, Officer Braintree, Dan Braintree, the dude from the, bloodstain pool. Sorry, sir, but the letter was delivered to you by hand this morning. I left it by your computer. Letter? I see. Should I have left it with you when you were at the desk? With the lamp? I'm sure I'll find it. Is there anything else? I do also have a message from Officer Bruce, which is... He said to say that he apologizes for the way he spoke to you last night. Issues at home, apparently. He would have told you himself, but he's not on until tonight. Oh. We were friendly to him and he wasn't, he actually apologized. Well, we are indeed, unfortunately, out of time with this one. But before we wrap up, let's see if anything interesting in this letter that we apparently got. It's not how we check that file. It was a letter in the manila envelope. The only writing on the outside was my name in a handwriting I didn't recognize. Oh hey, I think that might be the tattoo. I carefully opened the envelope and slipped the letter out. It was drawn in what appeared to be red wax on a thick paper, or papyrus. There was a diamond in the center with jagged edges. A strange cluster of symbols surrounded it, perhaps an alphabet of some kind. There seemed to be a symbol near one of the corners, obscured by what appeared to be charcoal. I decided to try to rub the powder away. I don't think that was a good idea. Something had cut into me, but that made no sense. I could now see a needle woven into the fibers of the sketch. Why hadn't I seen it before? I shook my head as the failure of observation. I was not repaying Luna's faith in me so far. I wiped the blood away and folded the letter back up. I knew I needed to look into who had sent it to me, but I had more pressing issues at the time. Oh, I feel like it's about to get, even weirder here soon. Either way, guys, that's all the time we have for this one. This has been Abscission. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Interesting one so far. Too early to tell where it's going to go, obviously, but I think just based on what we've seen so far, you kind of get the picture here. Hopefully you have enjoyed this indie showcase. I'll catch you guys next time.